It's Pixel time again! I always get a little bit excited when I see one of these sitting in a box outside on my doorstep. Google has been trying pretty hard over the past few years to earn a bigger piece of that smartphone market share pie. And I don't know how well exactly their phones are selling, but what I do know is that phones like this Pixel 6a, they should be on everybody's radar because Google has packed a lot into this phone and it costs less than 500 bucks. I won't sugarcoat it too much. This phone definitely won't be for everybody. It's got some, sore spots here and there, but I also think that depending on who you are and what kind of annoyances that you can tolerate, this will be great for many of you out there, just like the 4a and the 5a that came before it. The design of this phone has Google written all over it. It's very similar to the Pixel 6 and Pixel 6 Pro, and although the back is very clean and fairly minimal, it's got just the right amount of quirkiness present with that big old camera bar thing right across the back. The back looks like glass and even feels similar to glass, but it's actually plastic, which I imagine is one of the ways that they're cutting costs on this thing. Now, I know a lot of you out there really like the feel and premiumness of glass. Feel free to add that to your dictionary, but I'm willing to bet that if you were told this was glass, you probably never question it. They've done an incredible job with making this feel nice in the hand. You're gonna see a little more cost cutting going on with the front, with those chunky bezels coming in from the frame and squeezing the life out of the display. If you're the type of person that throws a big, thick OtterBox style case on the phone, you're not gonna care. But they are pretty sizable compared to most modern phones these days. Thankfully, this is an OLED display, so it's got perfect contrast and the colors are pretty decent as well for a sub $500 phone. In fact, when you pair it with the stereo speakers, this is one of the best phones that you can get in this price range for watching YouTube videos or Netflix on the go. But this isn't a flagship tier display, nor would you expect it to be, I guess, for the price. It's got the usual small issues that we see on a lot of budget or mid-range phones, like some rainbowing and discoloration off axis, and it's not the sharpest display on the market either. It's full HD in resolution, 2400 by 1080. Granted, the display is only 6.1 inches, so I don't think it really needs to be much higher in resolution, but I would have liked to see a refresh rate higher than 60 Hz. You're not going to find a high refresh rate display here on the 6a, which actually might be a slightly bigger problem than you think, and you'll see exactly what I mean when we talk about how the phone performs a little later in the video. The Pixel 6a ditches that rear-mounted fingerprint reader entirely and places it behind the display glass just like the more expensive 6 and 6 Pro. It looks nice design-wise because you don't have that, indentation on the back of your phone anymore, but this in-display reader can be a little on the slow side at times. Google hasn't quite mastered that tech yet because my 6 Pro actually had issues with its fingerprint reader too. I've been using the 6a pretty much non-stop over the past few days, and for a mid-range phone, I like it. It handles all of my regular day-to-day stuff with ease, and I think that it goes without saying at this point that I really like Google's fairly stock Android skin. Because it's a Pixel, Google's got a lot of exclusive software features on here, like the Hold For Me feature that will let you hang up the phone and use the Google Assistant as a stand-in to tell you when someone picks up on the other line. There's also the fun photo stuff, like the Magic Eraser and the new camouflage feature that we're gonna talk about in the photo section of this review. But that does not mean that my experience with this phone has been flawless. I've had some pretty annoying performance-related hiccups, and I'll talk about those right after I thank the sponsor of this video, NordVPN. I use NordVPN every day, and that's because it's one of the best tools that you can use to protect yourself online. You can get it by going to nordvpn.com/Spurrell or by clicking on the link in the video description. You can use NordVPN in a lot of different ways. It's gonna protect you while you're online at home on your laptop or your desktop, of course, but you can also throw it on any of your mobile or portable devices to keep yourself protected while you're traveling. NordVPN also now has threat protection features that guard you against web trackers, harmful websites, infected files, and malicious ads. It works completely independently of your VPN connection, so even if you turn off your VPN, you'll stay protected from cyber threats. Nord is safe, it's got top ratings everywhere, and it's the perfect thing to keep you internet safe whether you're at home or away. Use the link in the video description below or use the promo code SPURRELL to get NordVPN's cybersecurity package at a huge discount plus an additional month for free. Okay, so the Pixel 6a comes with the exact same Google-made Tensor chip as the much more expensive Pixel 6 Pro, which is awesome. I'm not saying that that's a downside. The downside with the 6a is that it comes with half the RAM as the 6 Pro, from 12 gigs of RAM down to 6. And I'm not exactly sure if it's the lack of RAM, but the 6a does feel slower sometimes. In certain apps, I'm getting a lot of visible stuttering, especially with apps that have a lot of scrolling, like Twitter or YouTube. And that's why I said that having a 60 Hz display might be a little bit more annoying than you think. With a lower frame rate, that stuttering issue is a lot more apparent. But hey, context is important. This is a phone that costs less than 500 bucks. Are there gonna be some downsides? Of course there are. Does that mean it's a bad phone? No, of course not. Plus, the 6a does have a saving grace, the camera system. There are two cameras on the back of this phone, a standard wide and an ultra wide, both 12 megapixels. Much to absolutely no one's surprise, Google's software trickery pulls a lot of weight here, and the result are photos that are very impressive for a phone in this price range. I found myself taking photos of just about everything because of how consistently this phone can take great pictures. They're definitely more contrasty photos than most phones, which is, the signature Pixel look, but I tend to like it more often than not. I do wish the 6a had a telephoto in addition to that ultra wide though. There's a 2x crop in the photo mode, but it's just cropping into a small 12 megapixel sensor, so most of the photos come out grainy or not as sharp. The front facing camera also isn't as impressive because it's only 8 megapixels, but given what kind of hardware the software is working with, the photos still turn out pretty solid overall. With the 6 Pro last year, Google released a magic eraser feature that allowed you to remove unwanted stuff from the background of your photos, and it worked a lot better than I thought it would. With the 6a, they're adding a camouflage feature that instead of removing things from the picture entirely, it'll change the color of these distracting objects to make the focus of the photo more obvious. It's pretty cool. I still find the magic eraser to be a little bit more useful, but I'm never gonna turn down more features. All right, battery life and charging. The 6a has a 4,410 milliamp hour battery, which is actually a great size for a phone that's this small. The thing is, that Tensor chip must be really power hungry because my battery life has been only average so far. It might improve over time, but for now I'm only getting around like 4-ish hours of screen on time before I need to charge up again. And that problem is made worse by the fact that the phone only charges at 18 watts through the USB-C port, and it doesn't have a coil for wireless charging. Honestly, this area is probably the most annoying part of the 6a for me. I can deal with the 60 Hz refresh rate and the occasional stuttering, but I really wish the battery had both lasted a little longer and charged a little faster. So what do I think of the Pixel 6a overall? Well, considering the fact that this is a $500 US phone, I think the pros here definitely outweigh the cons. You're getting a brand new Pixel with guaranteed Android updates until like 2025, some awesome cameras, decently solid performance, and an excellent build quality, surprisingly. Personally, this phone is a little less exciting for me than the Pixel 4a or the 5a was, but in my opinion, it's still a very solid buy. Hope you liked the video, thanks for watching, and as always, have a great day.